Okay, we're now on the last video for May, and this top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis video is for May 31st, 2019, in preparation for the next trading day on June 3rd, 2019, Monday. So I have 10 different stocks for you. We're going to start with PLDT, and before that, before I show you the chart, I'd like to remind you, especially the new subscribers, that this video is for short-term traders, for short-term trading purposes only. If you're looking for for long-term trading or long-term investing advice or pieces of advice for long-term investing, I would suggest that you visit the long-term investing tab, which is right here. Anyway, this video is for short-term trading purposes, and I'll begin with PLDT. Okay, so we have TEL. So TEL closed today Friday at 1,350 pesos per share. The immediate support is at 1,203. Immediate resistance is at 1,389. So we're seeing a green candlestick, and PLDT closed above its volume weighted average price of 1,331. We are seeing a green bullish volume bar. Foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 122 million pesos on Friday, and MACD is poised to cross above the signal line. That would be a golden cross when that happens. Okay, now let's see here. How about the upward momentum? Is it already in a strong category for PLDT? 1.2 points away. So PLDT is 1.2 points away uh, from getting that very strong category or very strong upward category as far as the score of its average directional index is concerned. So I think once PLDT crosses above or touches the 1,400 per share level, we will be seeing the ADX right here. The ADX touching the 25-point score. So if and when that happens, PLDT will garner or get this very strong upward category or upward momentum level. Now let's take a look at its trade and volume distribution chart to see if we're going to get some validation for the strength of its upward momentum, and I think we got a bullish validation because the dominant range is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low, and the dominant range is between 1,330 all the way to 1,350 pesos per share. Okay, so that's in favor of the buyers, obviously. All right, so if you're planning to top up or enter a new or if you're planning to top up, you have a data-driven reason to do so. You can do it within that dominant range that I've just shown you. Now, if you are planning to enter a new trade, I suggest that you calculate your reward to risk ratio first. Reminder, be mindful that the current price of PLDT is already closer to its immediate resistance than to its immediate support, and that will affect the desirability of your reward to risk ratio. Sir, what's reward to risk ratio? How do we compute that? Please refer to our quick start guide. I have already explained what reward to risk ratio is, and I have already provided some examples on how to calculate your reward to risk ratio. Once you're happy with your RRR, that's the time that you should only do a test buy between 1330 to 1350. Okay, RSI, by the way, still has more rooms for PLDT to inch higher and get closer to its immediate resistance. All right. So now for 2019 year to date, foreign investors are on a net foreign buying mode already, NFB mode, courtesy of the uh, intensity of their net foreign buying sentiment since the second half or second week of April all the way to the end of May. Alright, now after PLDT we have RLC. I am bullish on PLDT, by the way. So for RLC, it closed today at 26 pesos per share. Support is at 24.78. Resistance is at 26.15. Should it cross above 26.15? Let me just zoom this in so we can see the resistance level. The next resistance would be at 28 point 28.93. It's a historical resistance, not a psychological one yet. That's the reason why I have been zooming out on the chart so you can see where it is rooting or where it is originating. So there you go for your next resistance level above 26.15. It's at 28.93, or you can make that 29 pesos per share to round it up. Now if it breaks down or breaks below 24.78, that will make 22.8 as its support level. We got a green candlestick on Friday. It also closed above its VWAP of 25.72. It's above the 10 SMA. We got a green bullish volume bar. We also got 70 million worth of net foreign buying. And for 2019 year to date, foreign investors are on a net foreign buying mode on RLC. In addition to that, MACD is still moving bullishly above the signal line. Therefore, the conditions of my 10 SMA and MACD combo are still true. On the DMI chart, the buyers have taken over of the situation. However, the upward momentum is still not inside a strong category yet. Perhaps once the price breaks above 26.5, yes, 26.5 or a little bit higher than that, we will be getting a confirmation of a very strong upward momentum level for RLC. But let's take things a few fluctuations at a time. Okay, so let's not hurry for that to happen. Anyway, it's looking bullish based on these indicators that we have analyzed on RLC. Now let's take a look at RLC's trade and volume distribution chart to see if we also get another validation on its bullishness on an intraday basis. So it looks like it's evenly distributed here based on its trade and volume distribution chart. But if we are to just pick one dominant range, I would say that it's between 25.35 all the way to 25.35 all the way to 25.8. Okay. So on the trade distribution chart, that's between 25.35 to 25.8. On the volume distribution, that's between 25.5 to 26 pesos per share. Let's just remind ourselves that RLC closed today at 26 pesos per share. So still, whether we pick 25.35 to 25.8 or 25.5 to 26 pesos per share, still both are still closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. So therefore, the point still goes to the buyers or to the bulls. So that's in favor of the buyers today as well. So overall, I am bullish on RLC. I think since RSI is still quite distant from its classical overbought level, I think RLC still has enough power to break above 26.15 pesos per share. So if you have had RLC, it's you have two options: either just hold your position, do nothing, just sell when once your trailing stop loss is hit, or you top up within the dominant ranges that I mentioned a few seconds ago. If you don't have RLC, first things first, you have to calculate your reward to risk ratio. Follow the formula that I've written on the quick start guide. If you like what you got, then do a test buy within those two ranges that I've mentioned. Okay, so there you go for RLC. Next, Philinvest. Fleet closed on Friday at 1.71. Support is at 1.63. Let me zoom in on the chart so we can see its historical resistance level. It's pegged at 1.90. Okay, it's at 1.90, but I think there's a midterm resistance somewhere near 1.75. Okay, 1.75. Take note of that. I have just not drawn a horizontal line for that. So consider that as an imaginary horizontal line where it acts as its immediate or midpoint, midterm resistance level. So we also got a green candlestick that closed above its VWAP of 1.68 today, Friday. We also see a green bullish volume bar. Foreign investors also registered a net foreign buying worth for 53 million pesos. MACD just continues to move above the signal line. Since the 10 SMA is below the current candlestick, I would say that the conditions of my 10 SMA and MACD combo remain true. And on the DMI chart, the the ball is still in the court of the buyers. However, the upward momentum is still not inside the strong category. Okay, so there's still more room for uh, Flea to showcase the strength of its upward momentum so that it will get uh, or it will make it inside the strong category as far as the ADX score is concerned. I just want to also to forewarn you that RSI is already super close or quite close to its classical overbought level. So consider locking in some profits, if not all, near 1.75. Mind you, the closing price was 1.71, and I am reminding you to lock in some profits at 1.75 or near 1.75. When I say near 1.75, it's either a little bit below or a little bit higher than 1.75, and your resistance is at 1.9. Let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart of Flea. The dominant range is between 1.67 all the way to 1.71. That's in favor of the buyers. So while I am bullish on Flea, please do take note of my advice, especially for those of you who have had Flea. RSI is approaching its classical overbought level already. So be alert. Consider locking in some profits at 1.75 again. And if you don't have Flea, please do consider what I've just mentioned or what I have just advised for those who have had Flea. So don't uh, recklessly enter a new position and Flea without considering my piece of advice for those who have had Flea already. Okay, so might as well wait for some pullbacks before you um, consider entering a new position now that Flea is already above 1.70. Okay, so there you go for Flea. Now let's move on to Aboitiz Philippines or AP. AP Power Corporation or Aboitiz Power Corporation or AP for short closed today at 36.5 rather. Support is at 33.75 while resistance is at between the resistance range here is between 38 to 39.25. I'm saying it's a range because I would like to consider these 2 points here as a range. So that's between 38 to 39.25. That's our resistance range. Wherein for the support level, we got 33.75. We got another green candlestick on Friday and it closed above its VWAP of 36.17. We are also seeing a green bullish volume bar. Foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 45 million pesos. For 2019 year to date, foreign investors they are more or less still net foreign sellers for 2019 year to date. Okay. The price is already moving above the 10 SMA and MACD is still moving above the signal line. Therefore, the conditions of my 10 SMA and MACD combo remain true. Meanwhile, RSI still has more room to wiggle its way towards the resistance level. On the DMI histogram, the positive DMI is still below the signal line, but there's still already I'm already seeing a formation of a bullish convergence with a negative DMI. So I think once the price goes above 37 pesos per share, we will be seeing a golden cross or a crossover of the positive DMI above the negative DMI. Okay, when that happens, maybe once the price touches 37 or maybe 37.1 or 37.2. Okay, let me just show you the trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 36.3 to 36.7. It's in favor of the buyers. Let's check first. AP closed at 36.5. That's close to its intraday high. Let me just also give you some tips that, or let me just give you another tip that should AP start at a price lower than 36 pesos per share, please keep an eye to this range here, 35.5 to 35.85. Okay, only if and only if AP will start at a price lower than 36 pesos per share on Monday. If not, position near 36.3 to 36.7 or keep an eye to that range. It might uh, appear again as its intraday support and resistance level, that range. Okay, so I am bullish on AP, and you have a data-driven reason to top up your position or to enter a new position within that range. I am bullish on AP in the short term. Okay, next we have PXP. PXP closed today at 9.25. It also closed above its VWAP of 9.02. It's a green candlestick. We are seeing a bullish volume bar that is higher than its 10-day volume average. Foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 3 million pesos. 3 million pesos, that's not so huge compared to their major transactions with some index companies. Anyhow, MACD has been moving above the signal line since April 23rd, 2019, and the price is also moving above the signal line, so that's a good indicator of bullishness, meaning to say the 10 SMA, the conditions of my 10 SMA and MACD combo are also true in the case of PXP. There's still more room for RSI to the RSI's histogram shows that there's still more room for PXP to dance its way all the way to its immediate resistance level at 10.05 and the support level is at 6.78. On the DMI chart, the buyers are already in control, but PXP needs to draw closer, if not go higher than its resistance level for the ADX to give PXP a very strong upward momentum category or level. Okay. Now let's take a look at PXP's trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range here is it looks like it's evenly distributed as well, but let's try to find the dominant one, and I think I found it. So the dominant range is between 8.75 to 8.9. Let me zoom the chart for you so you can easily see the numbers. Here you go. It's between 8.8 to 8.9. That's the dominant range for PXP. Reminder, it closed at 9.25. So if we are to find a range somewhere near that level, I would say that that would be between 9.1 to 9.25. So this is your dominant level in as far as its closing price is concerned. So meaning to say, if PXP will close below 9 pesos per share on Monday, watch out for if it opens below 9.1 or 9.10, watch out for this range between 8.75 to 9 pesos per share. It may appear again as a dominant range, again, just in case it opens below 9.10 on Monday. If not, watch out for 9.10 to 9.25. Anyhow, that dominant range is still in favor of the buyers. Therefore, I remain bullish on PXP at least in the short term. Okay, so you can still top up your position if you have had PXP. You can top up, or you can enter a new position by buying within the 9.10 to 9.25. If it starts below 9.10, watch out for 8.75 to 9 pesos per share. Okay, next we have PNB. PNB closed today at 57.6. Unfortunately, it registers a red candlestick, and it also closed below its VWAP, or volume weighted average price, of 57.9. We are also seeing a red bearish volume bar that is higher than its 10-day volume average. That signifies that uh, traders of PNB saw something that um, ignited their interest to really participate in the selling activity on PNB today. Unfortunately, also PNB is already moving below the 10 SMA, even though MACD is still moving above the signal line. It has already started to bend towards the southward direction. Same thing for RSI and the positive DMI. Okay, so support level is at 56.45, resistance is at 61.5. So let's take a look at its trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 57.5 to 58.15, most of which is in favor of the sellers. So therefore, my advice that before you enter a new position, wait for a pullback or a rebound near 56.40, 56.45, or even lower should the descent in price continues to challenge uh, this support level. Now, if you already have PNB, there's no better advice than telling you to follow or respect your trailing stop loss. Sir, what is a trailing stop loss? How do we compute that? Does it need to be computed? All those three questions have already been answered in our quick start guide. Please brush up on our quick start guide. Okay, so I am bearish on PNB. Don't enter a new position yet. Next, we have ANI, Agri Nurture Incorporated, closed today at 14.10. That's below its VWAP of 14.2. We are seeing a red candlestick that's already moving below the 10 SMA. FYI, I am seeing a perfect bearish alignment among its three moving averages. I'm also seeing a red bearish volume bar that is higher than its 10-day volume average, meaning to say the intensity to really sell down ANI was felt today. In addition to that, MACD has been moving below the signal line since April 26, meaning to say this bearishness did not just start today. It has started as early as April 26, 2019. So I'm not going to give any piece of advice for those who may still have ANI, because you should not have ANI since the beginning of May. No buy signals appeared in the beginning in May. Okay, so my advice is only for those who are just planning to enter a new position. Please don't stop. Okay, don't enter a new position on ANI. Not yet. There are no buy signals yet. Okay, let me just show you for what it's worth the trade and volume distribution chart of ANI. The dominant range here, let's double check again where it closed at 14.1. Mind you, 14.1 is the intraday low of ANI. So I will give the points Now on the trade and volume distribution chart, the dominant range is between 14.1 to 14.18, but on the volume distribution chart, the dominant range is between 14.28 to 14.34. But in as far as the closing price is concerned, I would say that the winning range is the one that's closer to the intraday low, 14.1 to 14.18. In a gist, don't buy ANI just yet. No buy signals yet, so don't rush. Let's take a look at green. Green closed today at 2.34, a centavo below its VWAP of 2.35. It's already moving below its 10 SMA also, and I am seeing a bearish volume bar that is almost equal to its 10-day volume average. That's a confirmed bearishness, I would say. And even though MACD is still moving above the signal line, I think if green will register another red candlestick on Monday, the MACD line will either show us a formation of a bearish convergence with the signal line, or it will already cross below the signal line then. RSI appears neutral. On the DMI histogram, the negative DMI is already moving above the negative DMI, meaning to say the sellers are already at an advantage here. If green will register another one or two more red candlesticks, I think the DMI or the downward momentum will become stronger and stronger. So let me just show you first the trade and volume distribution chart of green. The dominant range we got is between 2.31 to 2.37. 2.31 to 2.37, that's in favor of the sellers. So my advice for those who are planning to enter on green, not yet. It's not yet the perfect. No, not. Let's not use the word perfect. It's not yet um, a better time. It's not yet. There are no data-driven reasons yet to enter a new position on green. Might as well wait for it to touch the line at 2.25, the support level. And by the way, the resistance is at 2.9. Again, don't buy green yet. It might just touch the support level at 2.25. It might even go lower than 2.25. Entertain the idea of doing a test buy if and only if the 4 points that we usually monitor have become present. All 4 of them, not just 3. Okay? What are those 4? Should be a green candlestick. The last price should be above the VWAP. We should be seeing a green volume bar that is at least higher than the 50% of the 10-day volume average. And the fourth one, the dominant range should be closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Unless and until those 4 criteria are present, don't do a test buy. Period. Alright? I'm bearish on green. Next, IRC. IRC closed today at 1.78. Support is at 1.6. Resistance is at 1.95. It's still moving above the 10 SMA, however, but once it once it closes below 1.77, it will formally be, it will then be moving definitely below the signal line or the 10 SMA. And speaking of the signal line, MACD is still moving above the signal line. However, it has already bent towards the southward direction, meaning to say that's a formation of a bearish convergence with the signal line. And I'm seeing a bearish volume that is higher than the 10-day volume average of IRC. Let's see here. So there's a possibility, by the way, for the price to try to rebound at 1.7. There's a possibility. Okay, I don't consider this 1.7 as a midterm support level, but based on its previous or historical price action. It might hit 1.7 and bounce away from that level once it hits its head on its support level at 1.7. But we will see. We will see. It might it might bounce away, or it might not bounce away. It might continue to uh, continue bearishly towards 1.6. But let's keep that as a possibility nonetheless. 1.7. Okay, let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart of IRC. The closing price is at 1.78. The dominant range is between, I will give it to 1.78 to 1.86 in favor of the sellers, still closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. So, are you planning to enter to trade IRC to add it in your portfolio as a new stock? Not yet. Don't rush. Wait for it to touch 1.7. If the intensity of its bearishness continues, wait all the way to 1.60 or lower. 1.38 is the support level below 1.6. Okay, so don't buy IRC yet. I'm still bearish. I am bearish on IRC in the short term. Alright, last but not the least, VUL. VUL closed today at 1.2. Reminder, 3 red candlesticks. 3 red candlesticks. Okay, we're seeing 3 red candlesticks. And I've said that 3 times. Alright, so it closed today at 1.2. That's below its VWAP of 1.22. There's also a red bearish volume bar that is higher than the 50% of its 10-day volume average. And RSI drew closer to its classical overbought level on May 28th. That was after that, VUL started to register red candlesticks. A red candlestick after another red candlestick. So I think VUL traders translated 1.43 as a selling point. Okay, so that's the resistance level, and the support level is near 1 peso per share. All right, so let's see. By the way, it's still moving above the 10 SMA. Let me just show you lastly the trade and volume distribution chart of VUL. The dominant range is between 1.19 to 1.23. That's in favor of the sellers. Now, if you still have VUL, I think by now, when it hit 1.43, and now that it's at 1.2, I think by now majority of you who traded VUL should have already sold at your respective trailing stop loss points, or unless you have a percentage of risk that's greater than 20%, which I don't recommend. Actually, I don't recommend, especially for beginners, to implement a risk percentage of 20%. Okay, do that. Go beyond 20% even when you already have years of experience trading actively. Okay, trading actively, not just once every 6 months, because you might be involved in the stock market for 10 years, but if you are only trading for about one every 3 months or once every 6 months, I don't think you would be able to harness your skills in trading. Okay, now for most of you, I think most of you are beginners in active trading. I don't recommend applying a risk percentage that's higher than 20%. Okay, might as well stick with 5, 7, or below 10%. 10% max, I would say. I would suggest for the beginners. Now, going back to VUL, don't enter a new position yet. Okay, we're seeing 3 blind mice here. Okay, 3 red candlesticks. So, don't enter a new position yet. Wait for the price uh, to show us if there's some interests to buy the stock near 1.03 or 1 peso per share. So don't buy it yet. And if you still have VUL, by all means, please respect your trailing stop loss. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense planning your trades if you are disrespecting or if you are not following your plan, your trade, your trailing stop loss. Alright, so you have heard my technical analysis, overall sentiment, and recommendations for the last top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis video for the month of May. So on Monday, we'll be starting the first video for June. So again, my name is JC De Guzman, and this is I am your mentor when it comes to short-term trading and even long-term investing. Have a good day.